Come on. Yeah. Hey, yo, it's my life, my time, my rights, my rhymes, my grind, my struggle, hustle, sweat in my blood too. A predator smells fear, and I smell a lot. My competitors fled scared, but they smelled I was hot. I want it all in excess, the sex and much success. Stress sucks, I want it all, no less. So come on.
What up? It's your boy T-Ray from The Reaction. Today is Wrestling Wednesday, so we're about to go back to WrestleMania. Happy come across this game from Kicking It Ross up in the clutch. So this is 10 WWE matches where the wrong person's won. Yeah. This one, some of this stuff I'm gonna agree with. Depends on the alignment. Cause I'm not in the group anymore. A lot of people in that group used to always see saying stuff like when. I got a little tired of them saying like when hills run, it was always like the right person won when it was coming to the hills all the time instead of never the time with the faces. But it was sometimes that they actually said it with the faces, but it was like sadly it was rare. Like they like the heel more than the faces. Was getting ridiculous and headache. It was a headache. But anyway. But yeah, I will agree. There's some times that the book wrong person won, especially with the hills. Like certain hills winning, I was not a fan of because they did it just cause. I mean, there's some hills friends by my side that didn't sit well. That probably didn't sit well with folks. You know what I'm saying. But I didn't care at the time because they was faces. They were faces like the Becky Lynch beating Shayna. I didn't care because Becky was face time and everything. More than that, let's check out top 10 matches that WWE matches where the wrong person's won. Let's get it.
Now, deciding who wins a wrestling match is ultimately the most important aspect of pro wrestling booking. Who wins and who loses decides the future direction of storylines, and it can impact the future of the entire company. Unfortunately, from time to time, major wrestling companies such as WWE get this very, very wrong. Well, which times were they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 WWE matches where the wrong person won. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification. Number 10, CM Punk vs Triple H. In the summer of 2011, CM Punk ascended to the very top of the WWE. Following his acclaimed pipe bomb promo, Punk had received widespread attention, and as a result, he was the most popular star in WWE at the time. Following his WWE title loss at the hands of Alberto Del Rio at SummerSlam, they decided to book Punk in a match against Triple H at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. This was a strange match to book because both men were babyfaces, and it was unclear who the audience was going to root for. Fans had presumed that Punk would win as he was the very much younger star, and Triple H didn't need the victory after all. But for whatever reason, Triple H being Triple H...
It's for like a good amount is going to be in here with Triple H because it was time that Triple H did not win. Even if he was the face, he didn't even win.
This didn't happen. Punk lost to Triple H, and this seriously damaged Punk's positive momentum. Punk would obviously hold a grudge against WWE for a number of years due to the outcome of this match, and he would even cite this match as one of the reasons he disliked Triple H in a personal capacity. Number 9.
So that's what led to that. Okay, so that's what led to the whole Spaggle thing. It's probably why he ended up leaning to his little heel turn as a champion. Was he champion again? Yeah, when he won the championship again and everything. But yeah.
In Randy Orton versus Hulk Hogan. The match between Randy Orton and Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam 2006 would act as Hogan's last WWE match to date. The logical thing to do if this was going to be Hogan's last WWE match was to put the younger star over in a convincing manner, passing on the torch forever.
I think this is one of the time I let it slide because at the time Hogan was a face, and it was before we found out he was racist.
But instead, Hogan would defeat Orton clean, and following the match, Hogan would then disappear from television, whilst WWE was left to rebuild Orton's credibility. Now, this booking decision could have been forgiven if Orton got his win back, but this simply never happened. It was another example of Hogan going over in a match that he didn't need to win. It was purely for his ego. Number 8, Miss WrestleMania Battle.
Only good thing out of that it led to Santina Morella's face turn. That's the only thing I like about that. Other than that, that was a what the fuck moment right there.
Royal. When WWE announced a Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal for the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania in 2009, it created a massive opportunity to showcase women from the past, present, and future of WWE. In the match were the likes of Victoria, Beth Phoenix, Sunny, Mickie James, Molly Holly, and the Bella Twins. Now, although these well-known and popular superstars were in the match, WWE decided to award the match to Santina Marella. Santina was supposed to be Santino Marella's twin sister, but it was just Santino in a terrible drag. WWE opted for shock value for the match outcome, and it flopped dramatically. It was terrible, senseless, and was completely disrespectful to all the women in the match. Number 7, Shane McMahon versus The Miz. Now, The Miz's babyface turn in 2019 was seen as a long time coming for WWE fans. The Miz had managed to build a genuine connection with the fan base, and it was clear that
I think that's the other reason why his face run went downhill, because they let Shane win.
Face turn was needed for the former WWE champion. Unfortunately, this face turn was a total failure. The Miz's arch rival during this babyface run would be his former tag partner Shane McMahon. But the issue was that Shane got the better of The Miz in seemingly every match. So much so that it killed The Miz's credibility as a legitimate babyface. This would begin at WrestleMania 35 as Shane would defeat The Miz. But the follow-up victory never occurred. Shane would defeat The Miz a further 2 times, and as a result, The Miz's time as a compelling babyface character was on borrowed time. Number 6, Charlotte Flair vs. Asuka. And one of the most acclaimed matches of WrestleMania 34 was the match between Charlotte Flair and Asuka for the SmackDown.
Both of them got done dirty. Her and Shinsuke got done dirty. Both her and Shinsuke got done dirty. They both wanted. They did both of them dirty. They both wanted Royal Rumble. They both lost the title. It led to, fortunately, led to Shinsuke's heel turn, at least, then lead to Asuka to one time she didn't turn the heel was the Kabuki Warrior, which sucks that her tag team wanted to be her turning heel with Kyrie, but they did them dirty. Her and Shinsuke got did dirty. We thought we was gonna have a Japanese top title holders for both the men and women, but I guess they didn't want that. They did them dirty.
Women's title. The match resulted in Charlotte shockingly ending the unbeaten streak of Asuka, and this truly took fans by surprise. They should have had Asuka win the SmackDown Women's title. Just
to beef up Charlotte's streak.
And allowed the feud to continue. Now, although the match was excellent, the result of the match had serious long-term damage. Asuka would struggle to rebuild credibility and her momentum. She would spend the summer of 2018 in an infamous feud with Carmella, which saw her lose to the former Money in the Bank holder on a number of occasions. The worst thing was that Asuka never got a clean victory over Charlotte. The two would wrestle a number of times throughout the years following WrestleMania 34, and every time it happened, Charlotte seemed to come out victorious. Number 5, Sting vs. Triple H. When Sting finally joined
folks trying to make it seem like that Sting's run and WWE never existed. That's how fucked up that was.
WWE, there were a number of dream matches that fans had in mind for the former WCW TNA World Champion. One of these was The Undertaker, who fans had hoped to face Sting at WrestleMania 31. However, WWE had other plans. They wanted Sting versus Triple H, as they believed that Triple H would be the perfect opponent for him. But when the match went down at WrestleMania 31, it featured cameos from NWO and DX, and it was abundantly clear that this was a WWE versus WCW storyline rather than a showcase for Sting. Sting ultimately lost to Triple H in a move that nobody saw coming. Fans were under the impression, as this was Sting's first ever WWE match, that he would be victorious, but Vince McMahon insisted that Triple H would be the winner of the match. Over 6 years after the match took place, fans still question why this happened. Some fans believe that Vince, who didn't want to let Sting, who was an established WCW talent, defeat one of the WWE's biggest stars, and if this is indeed the case, it's rather short-sighted of the WWE chairman. Number 4, Brock Lesnar vs. John Cena. Brock Lesnar's WWE return in 2012 was a huge deal. Lesnar had returned to the WWE as a legitimate, successful UFC fighter, and as a result, this was a completely different Lesnar which departed the WWE back in 2004. Lesnar's first match back in the company would be an Extreme Rules match against WWE's top star John Cena, and for seemingly no reason, they decided to have Cena win the match against Lesnar. This was a terrible move on behalf of WWE, and it managed to make Lesnar extremely weak as a result. To make things worse, Cena...
No, it didn't, because they didn't make it a monster and a beast, and then having them be a title hostage holder. Old Brock, not new Brock. Her and Brock alike.
In later months, would claim that 2012 was the worst year of his career, even though he had defeated Lesnar in the main event of a pay-per-view.
Oh.
It was truly terrible booking on behalf of WWE.
John Cena
Number
like
3,
okay.
The Nexus versus Team WWE. Now, the Nexus storyline dominated WWE programming.
I'm gonna let that one. I know you're gonna probably say Nexus should have won, but of course I wanted the ass to get beat for what they did the whole WWE. But I guess booking wise, I guess folks didn't want that.
In 2010, the group consisted of 7 WWE rookies who were attempting to take over the WWE. The storyline will culminate at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, where WWE booked the Nexus to take on 7 top WWE superstars. Now, the initial planned finish to the match was for the Nexus to be victorious, as fans as well as a number of talents involved in the actual match, such as Edge and Chris Jericho, believed that this was the correct booking decision. But one of the superstars involved in the match who disagreed was John Cena. Cena influenced WWE to change the finish of the match in order for Team WWE, in particular Cena himself, to stand tall. This match finish was universally slammed by fans, and it was responsible for the downfall of the Nexus group.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that's the negative of it, because some of them didn't bounce back from it. I mean,
Cena in recent years has been rather public in the fact that this was the wrong decision and that the Nexus should have indeed won the match. Number 2, Triple H versus Booker T.
Definitely.
One of the top matches on the WrestleMania 19 match card was Triple H defending the world title against Booker T. The storyline going into the match was rather controversial, and had some rather inappropriate racial undertones involved. Due to the nature of the storyline, Booker T should have without a doubt won the match in a feel-good moment. However, WWE had other ideas. Triple H would win the match, and he would even take an extended amount of time before making the final cover. It was a strange booking decision, and Booker T should have conquered the villainous world champion, even if it only led to a transitional reign for the former WCW champion. And number 1, Royal Rumble 2014. The 2014 Royal Rumble match is considered by many to be one of the worst Rumble matches of all time. The reason for this was, going into the match, there was a strong desire from the WWE audience to see fan favorite Daniel Bryan win the match and headline WrestleMania. However, WWE wanted the returning Batista to win the match, something fans didn't want. Throughout the 2014 Royal Rumble match itself, fans anticipated Bryan coming out, but when it got to number 30 and Bryan hadn't appeared, fans completely turned on it. The Rumble match turned into a complete disaster, and superstars such as Rey Mysterio, who were traditionally beloved, were heavily booed. Batista winning the match received unanimous backlash from both fans in attendance as well as fans and legends watching at home. The fallout from Batista's victory was so severe that they were forced to change their WrestleMania plans. This, combined with the departure of CM Punk, finally led to Bryan being added into the WrestleMania 30 main event, the match that he should have been already a part of. But there you have it, folks. 10 WWE matches where the wrong person won. Be sure to
definitely, man. That's definitely the number 1. And I felt bad for Bray. He had to be in the middle of that, though. He's a beloved babyface. He had to get booed because of that bullshit and everything. But majority of ones I definitely agree with. The CM Punk losing the Triple H win over was bad. Hogan, at the time, I didn't care, because at the time Hogan was beloved face at the time. This is before we found out he was a racist and all that, so I didn't care much about it. That was bullshit. I was almost say that was bullshit. This was bullshit as well too. This and fucked up Miz face run. That's what I talked about in that first video, how they do faces. They've been doing faces of late, though. They give people shitty face booking and everything, and that's why folks end up liking the bad guys more than the good guys, which kind of fucked up for me, because that's like there's no love for good guys no more, and good people. This was bullshit. Honorable mention would be Shinsuke, he didn't turn heel afterward because of it, but this was bullshit. They had both her and Shinsuke winning Royal Rumble for the men and women, for them to both get done dirty. This was also crap. Like, this is the reason why folks don't want to even think they wiping out just things existing off their mind, like purposely, because just for petty reasons, but still. That was fucked up. And then what's the other one? Like I said, the Brock Lesnar Cena. I was Team Cena at the time, so it wasn't a big deal with me. So yeah. Same with the Nexus situation. I did what Nexus did or anything. I was like, and what they did to Daniel Bryan, it was like a behind the scenes for Daniel Bryan leaving Nexus, then going to the Team WWE. I was with Team WWE, of course. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was not with Nexus. They destroyed everything by WWE at the time, and everything, and trying to run rug shots. I was like, beat the ungrateful asses at the time. So yeah. Definitely, the Triple H, I think the low key, he didn't win the titles later on, and then the King Booker thing, it shouldn't have took that to him to get a title. Then the Royal Rumble, yes, that was crap. I don't think that should have been number one. I think the Triple H and Booker T should have been number one, or at least and that should have been number one, and Miss WrestleMania should have been number two. But that was crap though. That 2014, like, and I felt bad, and it sucks because it gave Ray the disrespect he did not need that at all because of it. But other than that, this was a good piece of video right here. So if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.